back, everybody. So today we're going to have the first tasting of my 5-gallon split batch. This is the first one for 2020. Now on this one, what I wanted to do was see what that flaked rye would do. I know we've done some in the past, but I wanted to use it and see what it would do on its own instead of with the rye malt. Now I have to say, this is my second tasting, but this is the first video tasting because I actually did them all 2 weeks ago. It was actually when these were a month old, and I've been playing around with my new camera, and the first 2 videos turned out just fine. So I was like, okay, we're set. But when I recorded all these, they were all blurry. And I was like, how can that be? The first 2 turned out fine, but why are these next 5 bad? And well, what it is in the camera, it's set to go to sleep after 5 seconds of not use, just to save battery. And what I didn't realize was that when that happened, the autofocus, because it's manual, the autofocus is off because it is manual, and it resets itself. So it does have a screen on it. I thought it was okay, but obviously I didn't look close enough. So for the grain bill, now this was a 5-gallon batch, and I split it into 5 1-gallon batches. So 9 pounds of 2-row, 1 pound of Caramalt, 1 pound of flaked rye, 1 pound of white wheat. So this is similar to the rye IPAs. It's just instead of using the rye malt, we put in, I put in white wheat for it. For the hop, this does have 1 ounce of Warrior at 60, 1 ounce of Amarillo in the Whirlpool. So just the Warrior. Then after the 60-minute boil, cool down to 170. Then 1 ounce of Amarillo, 1 ounce of Chinook, 1 ounce of Citra for 20 minutes at 170. Then I split it. This is using the Omega 052 yeast, which is the DIPA. Now, depending on when you ferment, you could get peach. Now, the first time I used this yeast was in my Peachtree IPA. I fermented it at normal ale temperatures, so let's just say 65 to 68, and I really didn't get any more peach. On this time, I did the same thing because I wanted to see, was it just because it's the Peachtree IPA and I was getting those peaches, or was it going to, amp up that peach? And I couldn't taste anymore, so I wanted to do another batch that really didn't have any peach in it to see if it brought it out. So that's what this used. Then for batch 1, this uses Cashmere, 0.25 ounces of Cashmere, 3 days into fermentation for 7 days. This was bottled on 6/18, and it is 6.89%. And as for Cashmere, looking on the internet, complex and intensively fruity, strong overnotes of lemon, lime, peach, and melon. Secondary notes of coconut, lemongrass, candy, and herbs. Can show through in Whirlpool or dry hop. So we might do a Whirlpool version of this just to see, but this is dry hop. So enough talking, let's go ahead and get this open. This did use 7 carbonation tablets. Good hiss, good smoke coming off there. Go ahead and get it into a glass. I think we are going to get some haze out of this, as we are using the white wheat, and that is going to leave more protein suspended in the beer. Also, the DIPA yeast should leave some cloudiness too. So you could say New England style IPA. I don't think it's, for me, going to be as fruity as I would want it for a New England, but you could call this hazy IPA, something like that. Hazy rye IPA if we get any rye notes. Now, can you call it a rye IPA when it's just got rye malt in it, or flaked rye in it? You could, I guess, if it sticks out more. So we do have an off-white, almost tannish color head, small and medium bubbles, about a half a finger of head color. Hazy orange in color, lots of bubbles coming up. I cannot see through it at all. So I would say that 1 pound of white wheat did help it. Now, some of the hops could also help it, but we would really have to do some tests on those to see what happened. The Chinook should give us a little spice. More times than not, I do get citrus out of Chinook more than I get spice. So let's go ahead and smell, see what we think. I would say some sweet, almost big citrus slash fruitiness in there. I wanted to almost say like a candy, candy like that. The Cashmere was saying that sweetness. I'm guessing it's mixing with that juicy fruit to come off as that candy. But I would say that citrus. I almost said lemongrass, like a very sweet citrus slash fruit candy lemongrass, if that's what you want to say. It smells really good. Let's go ahead and taste. I get some sweetness, more bitterness than anything. It's not overpowering, but that bitterness plus that spiciness in there really works well. The aftertaste is more of a fruity sweetness than anything, but I believe that that spice does stay around more than anything, as it's my whole mouth, where usually bitterness targets my throat. You can really taste that bitterness in the taste, but with an ounce of Warrior, you're probably looking at this beer to be about 75 IBUs, and I think it is there. It might be perceived as a little bit more because that spiciness is mixed in with that bitterness. Very smooth, very easy drinking. I want to say that for some reason I'm getting some alcohol. I don't know if it's just that bitterness and spiciness mixed together, but it does seem like I'm getting a touch of alcohol in this. Yeah, I think that bitterness plus that spice is a little overpowered as my palate warms up for it. I'm still getting that juicy fruit in the aftertaste, but it seems like that spice bitterness is building more than anything. Yeah, I think it's good. I think for some people that spice bitterness might be a little too high. As I said, you're probably around 75 IBUs because the Warrior in this is adding 66 at the beginning of the boil. So maybe cut down on that some if that spiciness is going to be there. I'm actually surprised that Flaked rye is adding that much spice. Now that could also be coming from the Chinook too, as one of the main profile flavors for that is spice, and it seems like that's what's mixing, at least in this case. Somebody else could think something different, but maybe that Chinook spice is ramped up from that Flaked rye. I don't believe in my rye IPAs I got this much spice in there. But overall, a solid beer. I will be doing a side-by-side of all 5 of them. But yeah, overall, good beer. Is it one that I would brew again? On this one, I would have to say no. I think I would cut the Warrior in half. So maybe put it down to 33 IBUs at 60 minutes in the boil and see if that bitterness goes down and maybe the spiciness isn't amped up as much as it is, because I think they're playing off each other. That's what I've seen in my rye IPAs. It seems like if that bitterness is higher, it brings out more rye, but if the rye's higher, you can get a lower bitterness. But I think this works. I would not brew the same exact recipe. Yeah, I would cut the Warrior in half, or if I was going to put in an ounce, maybe do it at 30 minutes instead of 60. But yeah, overall good beer. If you enjoyed this review, check out some more. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And until next time, happy brewing.